news! The stop sale is over. Hey boys and girls, welcome to another episode of Commander Revs. Good news! The K1600 stop sale is over. You can buy one now. The fix is in. Yes, that recall finally has, the parts are being shipped, and my bike was one of the first ones to get done, and I get to go get it. So my wife said she was going to give me a ride over to the dealership. I am going to go pick it up right now and do a quick little test ride on the way home. Nothing, not that great a day out. It's 50 degrees, cloudy, almost a little rain, ominous rain clouds out there. So probably just a quick ride home and a quick initial review is all it's going to be. But the parts are finally in for this thing. So if you guys are anybody waiting for that K1600 to finally get done, it's done. Turned out to be a much more extensive fix. It was like a 7.5 hour job, I guess. So I'll talk to him a little bit about that when we get over there. But yeah, so let's head to the dealership and go pick up my new 19 K1600B, and we'll see you over there. First impressions, I have not ridden this thing yet. Brand new, 4 miles on it. So here we go. I'm going to get on her. All right, here we go. Okay, the first thing I noticed is that little lag that people talk about when you first come off idle. It is there. I'm sure it's one of those things that once you own the bike, you don't notice it anymore. Quick shifter is delightful. Absolutely smooth as silk. Should have adjusted the mirrors before I got going, I guess. Yeah, this bike is smooth. Whew! Smooth. Oh, one word describes the whole thing: smooth. It's man, very flickable for as heavy as this bike is. Wow. I mean, this thing porks in at 7 1/4 or something. I'll put it up on the screen. But wow, they've got the steering geometry just nailed on this. It's very easy to maneuver this bike. I got brand new tires. I got 4 miles on this bike, so 5 now. I got to be careful. Plus, it's sprinkling a little, so I am in rain mode, so I'm not getting a whole lot of power out of this thing. And to be fair, that little hesitation on the throttle should probably not be commented on until a guy ran this thing in the normal road modes. Yeah, that rain mode is so nice and smooth and easy and mellow. It's raining, so why not? First time out on it. It's going to be an old fart. shift. Well, I tell you, I think I'm just going to head right home with it because it's raining and I don't really feel like getting it all trashed. It's not so much the rain falling on the bike, it's all the crap that if it starts getting actually wet, if the roads are getting wet, then you get all the junk flying up from the road. And we still have all the, this is late March in Minnesota, we still have all the chemicals on the road that have not been washed off yet, so pretty windy. I'm going to put the windshield up. And as tall as I am, it's really not very effective. A little bit better. I might look into an aftermarket screen for it. Kind of figured I would end up having to do that. I still have my Aprilia Tuono, so that's going to be my hooligan bike, and this is going to be my just, hey dude, be cool man bike. Is that a thing? This is my, hey, be cool dude bike. So that's what I'm thinking. Handle grips down to 3. He put them up on 5 just for the demo. Might as well throw some seat heat on too, huh? Warm up the old Tuscherino. Throw that on 3 as well. Alright, I'm gonna try dynamic. Go right from rain to dynamic. Alright. That hesitation thing really is pretty much not there in dynamic. I'll have to try it from idle to be fair. Oh yeah, throttle response, get up and go. Whew. Way more present in dynamic. I'm thinking road is going to split the difference there. I mean, road mode as far as the suspension goes, and I think that's a little stiffer, a little more for carving a few corners. So you set it to cruise on the suspension. I think that's a pretty plush, softer ride, but maybe is almost a little too plush from some of the reports that I've read and heard about. Certainly just out tooling around, I'm sure it's perfect, but for carving canyons, which this is no canyon carver, but you know, it's a sportier bike than it should be. Like I say, I'm really surprised how flickable it is. I mean, for as big a bike as this is, come on, man, unbelievable. I'm a big fan of BMW. Anyone who is watching any of my videos knows that. And I just think Beamer got this thing dialed in. Now, barring this whole recall on the transmission, since we're talking about that, thank you for finally getting the fix in, Mr. Beamer engineer. It only took 6 months. But hey, look at the pictures. They actually had a Grand America in the shop that was getting the recall on the transmission done. Look at this. This is insane. Look how far apart this bike has to be tore apart. I thought it was kind of, originally was told that you just kind of pulled the side case on the transmission and pulled the guts out and kind of fix what's inside there. But no, I mean, this is obviously a major ordeal, and it took 7.5 hours. I think the first one took 9 hours, and then once he kind of got a little bit more figured out what all needs to be done on this thing, he's down to about 7 on them. 7 hours a piece, and yeah, when you look at the pictures, it's quite obvious why that is. You know, I'm gonna go for a little walk here. The rain is subsiding, so I'm gonna stop at the park here. kind of cooped up at home with this corona craziness, so normally you never see anybody here, and the park is just full of people because the health clubs are all closed, so people have to come to the park and walk. On a new bike, they always recommend varying your RPM, varying what gear you're in, vary the power setting, throttle, just keep mixing it up. Kind of helps break in, seats the rings a little better when you do that. I know some people say it's probably hogwash nowadays. In the old days with steel cylinders and steel rings, you had to really work it to get those rings to seat. Nowadays, with all the plating, nickel plating, and steel nitrided, and what all the high-tech alloys are on these cylinder walls and what these rings are made of these days, it's pretty much, now they say the rings never really do seat in like they did back in the old days. They just are made at such a tight tolerance that they pretty much just are the way they are right from the factory. And some of the service people, the people that are really in the know on this stuff, say you can have 100,000 miles on one of these new higher end bikes, and the rings probably still aren't really any more seated than they were when you bought the thing. That's just all for conjecture. Some people might not agree with that, but okay, look at all, I'm serious. It's Tuesday and it's a lousy day. It's cloudy and sprinkly. There is literally never a car here. You might see 2 cars in the parking lot on a day like today, and it's just mayhem here because of the corona. So that was my initial impressions of this thing. I'll pick it up after my walk. Screen goes down when you shut the bike off. Because I ended up running into a guy that I work with that we had to compare notes and talk about the misery of the world and the industry and all. So I didn't get a lot of exercise, but got a little something. Yeah, at slow speeds, this thing is in the full upright. I'm looking well over it. It's pretty effective, but when you get cruising, that wind still, the buffet's pretty much right in my face here. So I think an aftermarket's in order for that. I haven't tried the footboards. Oh, that's comfy. The leg position is a little, this has got a low seat on it. It's a bagger, and they lowered the frame and back. Basically from here back, this is much a lower frame than the other K bikes. So these are actually very comfortable. That's going to be a good riding position. And they've got these bars compared to the GT and the GTL. They've got these back a lot farther for more of a cruiser position. So yeah, this thing would be so easy to throw the miles down on. No doubt about it. I'm going to go just a little out of my way. I'm not going to go directly home because it has stopped raining. Had a chance to adjust my mirrors again. Did you think I took it? No. So yeah, late March, cloudy day. It's about 50 degrees, so it's it's not horrible motorcycle weather, but this is my first ride of the year. And like I said, the streets are still full of chemicals and sand and cushioning myself. So, guys talk about how sporty this bike is, and it is for a big heavy 6-cylinder cruiser. It is, but guys, I've been hearing guys talk about on the YouTube videos how how impressed they are with the power. And it's like, yeah, it is. I get it. It is impressive. But coming off my Tuono, it's hard to be impressed with this thing because that, you know, plus I had a double R, a S1000RR BMW sport bike before the Tuono. So yeah, obviously I'm not expecting anything like that out of this. I'm just saying that it's got just the right amount of oomph for what it is. And boy, and it's smooth. Smooth delivery all the way. Every gear, it's trendy, smooth. Quick shifter. Yeah, it's gonna be a fun bike. Let's try road mode. Front brake is phenomenal on this thing. Rear brake, decent. Oh, that's actually really good. This bike will do wheelies. I certainly am not going to be doing a wheelie on it, but guys do wheelies on this thing. If you watch Teach McNeil in his videos, he's actually doing tricks on this thing that pretty much defies all logic and laws of physics, but he does it. I have bought a little stubby antenna. I'm going to replace that. That's going to be done as soon as I get home. Because that's kind of a, really? BMW? I don't know, whatever. Pretty lame. So now that I have it in road, the suspension automatically goes to cruise. And boy, it is soft. I could see being out on the road with this thing, just cruising, not carving up any corners or anything, just out putting miles on this thing. This is like a Barca Lounger. Feet up on these footboards. I don't have my boots on today, but yeah, I got my tennies on. But yeah, feet up on these boards, cruising, man. This in this soft suspension, yeah. Yeah, I'm going to put some miles on this thing this summer. The other thing about the performance on this thing is I have not got anywhere near up into the rev range. Now this thing is pulling just like most of its torque, I think, at like 1500 or 2500 RPM or some ridiculous low amount. I think full torque on this thing is 129 foot-pounds. And I think that's somewhere around 5,000. I'll put it up on the screen, but I haven't even gotten to 5,000 RPM yet, and it's because I don't want to get too crazy here. I probably could get to 5 or 6 on it, but just trying to take it easy on the first 100 miles here. And gradually work towards a few more revs on this thing after the first 100 miles. First 600 to 1,000 is that break-in period, so I'm going to, again, varying the throttle, varying the RPM, varying the manifold pressure, off the throttle, on the throttle, off the throttle, shifting up, shifting down. That's what's recommended for break-in on this. So the first, and they don't want you full throttle, and they don't want you high RPM. So although I've cracked the stop on the throttle a couple of times. Whoops, sorry. Not gonna hurt nothing, it's a BMW. Although, yeah, when you look at that transmission recall that forced the stop sale on this thing, you gotta wonder, come on, man, what's with the engineering over there in Germany? They're supposed to be Einsteins of the world in the engineering world, and they kind of mess that one all up. I'm going to show you another picture. There's 3 gear forks. 3 of the gear forks that slide the gear over to engage the next gear. Those had to be replaced. And then this one gear with its keeper, that also needed to be replaced. So this bike had to be tore down all the way down to the level that you see here, so that the 3 forks and one gear and one keeper could be replaced in the transmission. Yeah, they kind of messed that one up there at in the Deutschland. Not a problem going 100 on this thing, I'll tell ya. Well, the ice is almost off. Looking pretty dark gray. Gonna go back to dynamic. And again, suspension goes to road. There it is. Oh, she's definitely peppier. Definitely quicker and dynamic. That's a really nice setup. I know the GT and GTL have a couple more modes. This only has the 3, road, dynamic, and rain. I don't think you need any more than those 3. I can see this bike, what you want to, you can carve around in dynamic, which gives you the road suspension, a little stiffer, a little bit more sporty suspension to match the dynamic throttle response and engine mapping. And then when you go to road, it goes to cruise on the suspension, and it's just for doing that, sitting on your big fat butt, just putting on the miles. This guy doesn't know what he wants to do. So yeah, I'm going to be happy with this bike. Man alive, this is... Other than the fact that my 401k has completely been decimated, so right about the time a guy wants to be retiring, there's no money. Been sacrificing for 20 years, trying to pack away as much as I can just to have it disappear. Now don't think I'm one of these guys, oh, sell. I mean, you got to ride these things out. The market shows, if I could wax financial here for a sec, the market has shown since 1929's initial crash. This has happened 16 different times. Oh man, this maybe not all to this degree as far as percentage of loss, but and the average time to recover from something like this is about 10 months. 9/11, I think it was 2 months that it was back to pre-9/11 numbers. So everybody just has to settle down, relax, and just let this thing come back. Now, who knows? It might take 2 years, 3 years. Who knows? But maybe we're just completely hosed and it will never recover. But no guarantees in this life anyway. That's why we must have hope for the next one. Oh, this is a comfy bike. I can't imagine an engine being smoother than this. I know the Goldwing is probably right up there with it. It's maybe smoother. The Goldwing, I think, is the ultimate touring. I mean, road touring, mass quantities of miles per day bike. This is probably the next best in that. But from what I've seen now, I shouldn't say I almost bought it, but I was looking really close at a Goldwing. DCT, dual clutch tranny, it was a really cool draw. That bike is pretty cool. But I honestly, from all the videos, all the reviews, everything, all the intel that I've done, my personal gut feeling is that this is probably more fun. That's probably a better overall touring bike than this bike, but I think this bike is going to be way more fun than the Goldwing would have been. I don't think the Goldwing was any slouch, but I think the engine on this thing is just probably more fun than a little bit sportier. So that's my initial take on this bike. I'm going to do a review on this when the weather gets a little nicer. Even if the weather isn't warm, I'm going to put my heated gear on, which I'm liking this thing right there for the heated gear. Not sure if I need a special BMW plug or what I got to look at that. I don't think I do. But anyway, yeah, I'll put the heated gear on and go out, but a little sun might be nice for the next review here. So I'll see you back in the shop and we'll wrap this up. Okay, here we are back at the shop, and yeah, I'm going to love this thing. Just futzed around a little bit to try to pair my phone up with it. I have not been successful yet. Not sure. Gonna have to read the manual on that a little bit. Yeah, it's going to be the ticket here for me moving forward. Unfortunately, I do have to sell the GS. I'm probably going to have to sell something else too because of the financial situation. We're all in here. I'm not going to give away a bike. I don't know if the market's going to even bear out to see if anyone's going to be buying anything this summer here in Minnesota, but we'll see. But anyway, I'm home with the BMW K1600B 2019 version. I'm going to be cruising this summer in this thing, and so far I love this thing. Look forward to my next video. Will be a little bit more in-depth review. This was just an initial impression, and smooth. That's all I got to say. Thanks for watching. Look forward to seeing you next time on Commander Revs.